It's 5 years since a Spaniard won his National Open title. That was at Club De Campo when the faithful turned out in big numbers to applaud one of the finest and most charismatic golfers the game has seen. Sadly, Seves missed the cut this time, but another Spaniard, 44-year-old Juan Quiros, has a chance. He's the leader by 1 after 2 rounds of the 2000 version. Welcome from me, Julian Tutt, to the 3rd day's play of the Peugeot Spanish Open, being played for the first time at the PGA Golf De Catalunya in the lee of the Pyrenees. Perhaps the biggest threat to Juan's chances is a certain Colin Montgomery, champion in 1994, also at Club De Campo, and a man intent on boosting his confidence after taking a few knocks recently. There's not much wrong with the long game. But the short game is giving him nightmares. "79 players made the cut at 3 over. Only 78 are playing though. Anthony Wall went home thinking he'd missed it. Ian Woosnam's in there again at 2 under. Tony Johnston, rounds of 71 and 70 at 3 under. Dean Robertson, first round leader, struggled to a 76 in the 2nd round. Marcus Breyer, Austria's number 1, 69 and 70 to be 5 under, and Monty just 2 behind at 6 under par. It's another very good day for playing golf. Not totally clear blue skies, but very little wind. Ideal for some low scoring. We've got 3 hours of live golf coming up. Let's tell you what's happened so far. Juan Quiros looking to get a fast start, but not finding it. Trouble on the 2nd hole. Ending up with a double bogey there. Andrew Coulthard playing in the penultimate group. Starting well with a birdie at the 2nd. Fortunately, he's bogeyed the 4th, but since made another birdie. Montgomery started very well too. Playing in the final group alongside Gary Evans and Juan Quiros. A gimme birdie. Very nearly made birdie at the 2nd as well. His 10-foot birdie putt just sliding by. And on the par 5 3rd, hitting a delightful 3rd shot, setting up another birdie. So he's made a bogey at the 5th, and he's 7 under, 1 under for the day. 6 hole, 410 yards, par 4. Carlos Rodriguez, not a full tour member from Spain, making a flying start. That was his 4th birdie. Birdies at the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th. Dropped a shot at the par 5 7th. But at the 9th, a long par 4, 467 yards. Outside chance of birdie. Outside to him. Going out in 32. To be 7 under. Marcus Breyer, Austria's number 1. Very useful 31-year-old, been playing since the age of 8. Great shot into the 2nd. Birdied that, and the 3rd, and the 4th, and the 6th. This is tee shot at the par 3/8, just bringing it back off that quite steep slope. We made birdie at the 7th. Makes makes his birdie at the 8th. And he's 8 under. So, the leaders, 6 under par upwards. Andrew Coulthard, 1 under for the day. Thomas Gergler, 4 under for the day. Went out in 32, hasn't dropped a shot yet through 11. Colin Montgomery, 2 birdies and a bogey to be 1 under for the day, 7 under after 6 holes. Brian Davis, 2 birdies through 7, he's 7 under. Remarkable round from Carlos Rodriguez, 24-year-old, born in Malaga, out in 32. But the leader, Marcus Breyer, with 3 birdies. Second, 7th and 8th. Now the 7th hole, 533 yards. Uphill second shot to a very well guarded green. Monty going in with his 3-wood. Chasing it up there. Pin 28 yards on, so perhaps didn't get quite as much run as he was hoping for, but he was looking very good on the range this morning. He had his feel there, just hit a few shots and knew that it was a good day. Long game wise, can it make the eagle putt? And that's been characteristic of his putting recently, most untypically compared with the Monty of yore. He's been coming up short, which he never used to do. Brian Davis, birdie putt at the 8th, hanging on the edge. He thought it was in. A wry smile, but a solid par 3 to stay at 7 under. Londoner who spends much of his time over in Florida. Birdie putt on the 7th for Juan Curros, needs it badly. Well done. He's putted very well over the first couple of days. And excellent crowds out today. It's a holiday here in Spain, a long weekend, 4-day holiday. And they've come to support this man amongst others. And this is the sort of distance that he's really not been very happy with. Monty came off yesterday. In his own words, I'm very, very disappointed. Having shot only a 71, he felt that really it could have been a 66 or a 67. And this is not an easy putt, not easy to read. Downhill, just fractionally from the right. Got it, well done. He went onto the putting green after his round yesterday for a long time, practicing those little 2-footers. He had about half a dozen putters out there, but he's still using the Seymour putter that he's had for the first couple of rounds. He's been using for a little while now, the one that sadly now late Payne Stewart made famous. Another eagle putt on the par 5 12th for Germany's Thomas Gergler, just sliding by on the low side. Still, that's going to be a birdie 4 to take him to 7 under. This is Carlos Rodriguez. Another birdie attempt. It's a share of the hole. Finished 162nd on the order of merit last year. And at the moment is not a fully paid up member of the tour. He was way down in the 130s at the qualifying school last year. But we've talked once or twice this week about how often you see horses for courses, and he played in the Gene Sarazen Open that was played on this course in October and finished 10th. Rounds of 67, 71, 71, 71. Very consistent performance, finishing 8 under. So it's obviously a course he knows and enjoys. 467 yard par 4 9th. It's really varied how it's played this week. Marcus Bryan not quite getting up onto the top level with the pin at the back there, so he'll have a putt up the slope. In practice, when the course was very firm, that was playing as a 3-wood 7-iron, but some players have been hitting 2 woods in there in the much more difficult conditions yesterday. Eduardo Romero with an eagle at the 12th, and a short eagle putt at that. So he's on 7 under as well. Some good names now stacking up behind the leaders. Brian Davis going, I think, with his 3-wood. There's a bunker down the right-hand side of the 9th, which he's skirted past, and he's in pretty good shape there. On to the 8th, 154 to the front, pin on 12, and just 4 from the right, so 166 yards. And he's missed that really quite a long way left, with the pin over on the right-hand side. The one place you don't want to be is right here. You can't see it in that picture, but a little bit to the right of the green, it slopes away quite sharply and away into the woods, and that's where Montgomery went in the first round, and you can have a horrible lie in there and really have no shot at all. Either a good 7 or an easy 6 here for Kuros. Now look at this for a lovely, smooth, elegant swing. Looks like an easy 6. And he's got it on line and length 2. Glorious shot. Well, it's been a sticky start for him with the double bogey at the 2nd and bogeys at 4 and 6. But a couple of birdies as well, and another chance there. Marcus Breyer on the 9th with his uphill birdie putt. Will swing from the right as he sees it. Swing right into the hole. Just a bit too speedy. Needed to be absolutely dead centre to have a chance of going in at that speed. Coulthard has been striking the ball very well indeed. He's worked hard through the winter with his coach Tim Barter, but that's not good. He's missed the 9th fairway by a long way down the right there, and he could have an awkward lie. Conventional layout in terms of the par. 2 par 3s, 2 par 5s on each half. 3,576 going out, 3,629 coming back. So good long course, 7,205 yards. Plenty of water. American layout in some ways. It's a caddy's nightmare. It's real uphill, down dale, and some quite long walks from greens to elevated tees. And when you've got 45, 50 pounds on your back, as most of them have, it's pretty hard work. If anything, I think the front 9 has been playing a little bit harder over the first couple of days. The very strong wind that blew yesterday afternoon made it an extremely demanding test of golf. Nothing like that wind this afternoon. It's just getting up a little bit compared with this morning, but it's relatively a zephyr compared with yesterday afternoon. 15th hole, the par 5, is the easiest on the course. The 17th has got an awkward pin position today, and it's really catching some players out. If you were watching yesterday afternoon, you would have seen the Sandlin Olafable 3-ball rack up an aggregate score of 19 on there, a 7 and 2 sixes. Montgomery on the par 3 8th. Yeah, that's pretty good. Missing it on the right side. But again, it's into that distance where, in his mind, it's far from dead. Peter Coleman, you might be wondering why he's on his bag this week. Regular caddy Alistair McLean is having a couple of weeks off. He's on honeymoon. Bernhard Langer over in the States not playing, so Peter Coleman available to carry Monty's bag. Par putt on the 9th for Marcus Breyer. Very highly ranked player. He's been playing a long time, as I say. He started playing at his local club, lives in Vienna, the Fortuna club. Now he plays, but his parents started playing when he was a young kid, and he joined them at the age of 8. And whilst he was also a pretty good skier, as most Austrians are at that stage, he quickly settled on golf rather than skiing. This would really get Juan Quiros back into it if he can get back-to-back birdies. Lost his card last year, had a big problem with his left wrist, had to have surgery, had 5 months out. Came back and won on the Challenge Tour at the end of last year. Got into this event courtesy of his placing at the top of the Spanish Order of Merit. Disappointing. Brian Davis second to the 9th. Oh, he's got a member's bounce. He'd have been hard pressed to get it as close as that, and there were 1 or 2 instances like that yesterday as well. Jovial, cocky Londoner. Thomas Girdler, the man who strayed somewhat down the 13th. 399 yards. The only hole without bunkers. And trying to cut a high one in there and doing it very well. Danger in front and round the right-hand side in the shape of water. I think it's very important to Monty's round that he makes this putt. 3 birdies and a bogey so far. Normally when he gets off to that sort of start, he's very solid. Hold on. So he birdied the first and third, and a very good chance at the second as well. Makes such a big difference to him if he gets off to a good start. It really settles him down. And he's a field player. Sometimes he'll go out on the practice ground in the morning, the field's not there, and then he gets a bit jumpy, but it was certainly there today. He was hitting the ball beautifully. Co-leader alongside Breyer at 8 under. As suggested, Coulthard had a dodgy lie down the right-hand side of the 9th, just had to chip it out, and he hasn't quite got the length. That just needed to kick on, and it spins back down the slope, and what could have been maybe a 15-foot putt for par is now more like a 35-40 foot putt. Sergio Garcia, you may have noticed on that leaderboard at 6 under, went out in 31. Had 4 birdies in a row from the second, made another one at the 7th. This is Stephen Skyhill from New Zealand playing with Coulthard and Brian Davis. Such a good start for him. 1 over for the day, having started at 6 under. Drop shots at the 4th and 6th. Birdied the par 5 7th. Montgomery onto the 9th out with the 3-wood. Deep bunker down the right-hand side, reachable with his 3-wood, 225 yards out that one is. But with his typical shape, he'll probably be starting it down the left-hand side and working it in. That's exactly what he's done. And in fact, that's a big hit, because that's 280 odd yards, over 280 yards to find the bunker down the left. That's an error from Monty. This will be a remarkable birdie if Thomas Gergler can make this on the 13th.
Come on, turn.
Down the slope, caddy encouraging it to turn. That's a lovely putt. Quiros driving on the 9th. That's fine. It's amazing how matches can sometimes pull each other along. Gergler playing with Ramiro and Struve, and they're all under par. Gergler and Ramiro 5 under for the day, Struve 1 under. Ramiro and Struve have just eagled the 12th, and Gergler birdied it. Pretty good match, that one. Two birdies and a bogey so far for Coulthard. Been having a quiet time. He's had 5 weeks off since missing the cut in the Qatar Masters. Pretty difficult conditions there. Wind blew strongly and the greens were lightning fast and very grainy, and a few players came a little bit unstuck there, and Andrew was practically yipping some of them. He seems to have got it back on track. He's pretty happy with the way he's playing. He's got the speed right. That looked very good. No, it didn't. And actually, he's left himself quite a bit to do. The line was good. Rodiles on the par 5 12th. May just have overdrawn that a bit, coming in over the lovely old cork tree there, 250 years old. Yeah, just a little bit too much, but that's all right. That cork tree with a circle of sand around it. Eduardo Ramiro. He'll stay 7 under. Sorry about the slightly shaky picture from the camera up on top of the crane, but just an indication that there is a little bit more wind getting up. Still not as strong as yesterday afternoon, but certainly now it's becoming a bit of a factor. Quite a natural stadium around the 9th green. Scores going through. Kenny Otto, level par 312. One of the many Challenge Tour graduates who are doing very well this week. It really is a sign of how good the Challenge Tour is now. That's a lovely birdie from Brian Davis. Maybe a little bit lucky, but it's always a good idea to take advantage when you get the lucky bounce. And he's gone out in 33, no drop shots, 3 birdies, 8 under. Joint leader. Rodiles, not surprisingly, choosing to chip from the thicker cut just off the 12th green. Judged it pretty well. Greens actually are not that fast, although they're beautiful greens. Bent grass, very good roll on them. They're only running at about 9 on the stimp meter. In fact, there are some severe slopes, so it's probably just as well they're not any faster. Oh, and that was pushed by Coulthard. And that's all because of the wayward drive. Double bogey. Out in 37. That's a real setback. And that's what this course does to you. If you drive it well, get it in the fairway, then you've got a great chance of putting some low scores, particularly if you're a long straight driver. But if you're missing fairways, then it can become all very difficult because there's a lot around the fairways. Fairways themselves not particularly narrow. Second shot for Marcus Bryan into the 434-yard 10th. Downhill, dogleg left from another of those very high tees. But it can be most penal if you get off the straight and narrow. So there's not going to be any change to the top of the order of merit this week. With Darren Clark way out there, nothing is going to change up there for a little while, although after next week we start getting into the big money tournaments with the Benson and Hedges, the very rich Deutsche Bank TPC in Hamburg, richest regular tour event this year. And then the PGA Championship at Wentworth. £1.5 million available there. That's been upped as well this year. Campbell, none of those top four playing this week. Campbell, Harrington, Clark or Earls. Gary Orr and Caceres Price are playing. Thomas Bjorn as well. Gary Orr 5 under at the moment. He's just gone a little bit quiet after a hot start to his round, with birdies at the first and third. Been pars all the way since then through 11. That really disappointing finish to his round yesterday when he was going so well. Ended up with a 73 by double bogeying 17 and bogeying the last. Of course, a little bit unlucky maybe not to have come off this bank. Makes the shot that little bit more difficult with the ball on a hanging lie well below his feet. He's played it beautifully. Doesn't quite get the run. So he too is going to have to come up that slope. He would have expected a little bit more. He'd have been aiming to land it there, expecting the ball to fly a little bit coming out of that semi-rough lie. Landed surprisingly softly. Monty's got a pretty good lie and seems to have made a good contact. 4-iron from 190 yards out, and what a beautiful shot. Great shot from Montgomery. Oh, easy. All in a day's work. Just a little tactical error off the tee, but recovers beautifully, and now a great chance of finishing the front nine with a birdie. That was over the pin all the way. And as so often we see with Montgomery, absolutely hole high. His judgment of distance quite superb. Marcus Bryan just falling off the 10th green to the right. Looks to have a pretty good lie. Never an easy shot though when you've got 30 yards or so to go out of the bunker. I think most pros probably consider that one of the hardest shots in golf. Rodriguez for his birdie, having chipped up to here from the edge of the 12th. Ooh. Well, that's pretty frustrating when you get hole high in 2 on a par 5 and then take 3 to get down. Tony Johnston is marking his ball, not having such a good day. Out in 37, dropped a shot at the 10th as well to be 1 over for the day. He's 2 under for the tournament, but with chance of birdie at the 12th. 3-way tie for the lead. Much better day for Sergio Garcia. Just 1 hole to play now. He's made par at the 17th, dangerous hole. delighted to say that I've been joined by yet another South African. We've had the benefit of one or two this week in the commentary box, which is great news. Roger Vessels, welcome. Thanks a lot for coming in. Sorry you didn't make the cut.
Yeah, thanks, Julian. Good to be here. Bit disappointing, my first tournament back in Europe this year, so missed par one. It's always good to get off to a good start, but unfortunately we'll have to wait for next week.
And you're staying out here to practice before going straight on to Paris?
Yes, I am. Got to put a bit more work in on the practice tee. Starting to find a bit of rhythm. Very happy with my game yesterday, so seem to be doing the right thing, so hopefully make a good score next week.
All the scores going through as we talk. Santiago Luna, tail gunner at the moment. Started with an 8. Had a double bogey 7 at the 7th. Eagle at the 12th, but apart from that, it's been an inglorious day for him. 7 over for his round so far.
So one of the things I noticed about this course, you know, if you're not driving the ball particularly well, it's very, very punishing. So, and the first hole is a pretty awesome tee shot to start the day with. I should imagine he lost his tee. He lost the ball in the first hole. Make an 8 there.
Pretty tough up and down that for Marcus Breyer. First shot of the day dropped. Down into a share of 3rd place now with Davis and Montgomery joint leaders. Sergio Garcia now on to the 18th.
Fantastic round from him today. 6 under par. I think there was a 65 in earlier this week, but one of the low rounds of the week.
Yes, Dean Robertson opened up with a 65 in the first round. Could have been better. He bogeyed the last 2.
It's actually amazing that to think that he got to 9 under after 16 holes, because this course is, I guess if you're driving the ball well, it takes the difficulty out of the course, but still to get to 9 under after 16 is a fantastic effort. And I'm sure he was disappointed to finish bogey, but 65 is still a great score. Course is in wonderful condition. I must admit one of the best courses I've played here in Spain, and they've really worked hard to get the condition into the course into superb condition, and the greens are fantastic. If you pick the right line here, you just can't miss. So it's a pleasure playing here.
Well, there's another example of the way Monty's putting has changed. He couldn't really afford to go at that downhill, but nonetheless he was barely getting to the hole. In the old days, he'd be putting it 2 or 3 feet past and not worrying about the one coming back.
Well, I think I remember Bobby Luck saying that you've got to use the whole hole. You know, you can use the whole hole to knock putts in. So dead weight putting is not a bad way to go on greens like this anyway. You don't need to hit the ball firm, to keep it on line. You know, and McNulty's another great putter that puts like that. So I think it all depends on what kind of greens you're playing on.
Quiros for his 4. He's looked very good with the putter.
Actually, I love watching this guy swing the club. I think he's really committed to every shot, and it's beautiful to watch. I think he's a great example to all golfers, you know, to have a good cut at the ball.
What about Carlos Rodriguez onto the 13th, 399 yard par 4. This is the one with no bunkers on it.
Tricky hole this off the tee. Quite a few of the, which is unusual for golf courses nowadays, is that there must be at least 5 of them where you're way up above the fairway, and I've always found that a little difficult to adjust to. And that is another hole where you're at least 60 foot above the fairway with crosswinds, and it's hard to get the ball finishing on the fairway there with the crosswind. So although it's short, it's not a pushover. It requires a good tee shot, a well-controlled ball flight to keep it on the fairway there.
I think one of the things about this course is that you could come out and play it first time without having a look at it. It's all right there in front of you.
That's a great thing about it. You know, there are a few hidden bunkers off the tee, but other than that, it really is, as you say, out there in front of you, and it's a bit intimidating your first time round. I'm sure amateur golfers coming here would really enjoy playing here, but there are a few tee shots there with all the water around that get the nerves jangling.
Marcus Breyer to the 11th, 166 yards to the pin today, but over on the right-hand side, and he's not got too much room to play with from there.
I don't think he'll be happy with that tee shot. It's probably the widest green on the golf course, and it's one that it's not very deep, but it's one that when you miss it, you feel that you've hit a poor shot. Again, it's another tee shot that's 40, 50 foot above the surface, above the green. So you know, with crosswinds again, it's not that easy. It's good to see Monty out on tour again, you know, on European tour anyway. I was watching him this morning, and it always amazes me how relaxed he is on the practice range before he tees off. You know, most guys are hitting balls to warm up, and it looks like he's out there for a social occasion. It really is fantastic to watch him.
Those holes with a big drop down tee up by the clubhouse, just to the right of the picture there. Swings dogleg left. Now Garcia with big and straight drive down the last. Beautiful drive. And you'll see the drive distance on there. This is one of the two measuring holes for the AXA performance data.
What it is to be young. Love to hit the ball 300 yards. It's fantastic. Birdie had to tie the best round of the tournament. Yeah, lovely shot again. Really good to have him playing out here as well. Fantastic golfer, great charisma, and I think he is going to do fantastically in the game. Really exciting to watch. He's got all the shots, really aggressive. I don't think there's a nerve in his body, really. Look at this. I love watching this guy. Never backs off. Beautiful.
It's a very simple swing, isn't it?
Very,
a bit
yes.
like Woody in a way.
Yes, it is. They're more or less the same height, mind you. So I guess they put everything into it to get it out there, but it's fantastic. It really is. Full commitment.
Now you can see Marcus Breyer with very little room here. He's got to get a bit of check on it.
Oh. Played fairly well. I should imagine you want to pitch another yard further, get a bit of run. I think the green does slope away from you a little bit there, so you don't want to be too aggressive. So you could run 20, 25 foot by there. Probably try to pitch it on a spot. Thomas Gugler having a good round today.
Yes, there's a very good three ball. I was saying just before you came in, where this does happen sometimes, doesn't it? That all three are doing well. Sven Struve actually was going well as well until he bogeyed 10 and 11, but he's 3 under. Ramiro and Gurgler both 7 under. But Brian Davis has got this for the outright lead.
Fantastic.
He's a player who I I've had his card marked for a couple of years as potentially a winner and a multiple winner. Very determined character.
I think he has a lot of confidence as well, self-confidence, Brian, and he certainly showed signs of winning last year. He got pretty close, he got into contention, and it's a learning experience. You know, he certainly has the game. He drives the ball very, very well. You know, so he will get there, and perhaps it's his time this week. It's a good driving golf course, this. I think I played with Ian Palm in the last 2 days, and he drove the ball beautifully, and he really made it look simple. So it's
pretty good save that from Marcus Bryant.
yes, very good. Good play. He's had a few good tournaments this year. I think he played well in Dubai, Qatar, I think it was, early on in the year.
Struggled last week. Finished 26th in the South African Open, 13th in the Heineken Classic.
Yeah.
Was tied 14th in Qatar, and 7th is best in the Madeira Island Open. They missed the cut last week.
That's a good start to the year. Very good.
Just kept rolling straight on.
I think he peaked a little bit there. Gave it a bit of a push. Getting excited, I think.
His second drop shot of the day. Amazing start to his round. Birdies at the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 6th. But Monty's looking extremely dangerous.
Oh, did pull a little bit too much there. It's going to be a tough shot, that. I should imagine getting the green slopes away from him from the bunker. Very underrated part of his game, mind you, I think, with Monty.
Birdie putt to finish for Garcia for a 65. Oh, he's up walking.
You know, he's fantastic to watch. You know, how many players would be annoyed with that putt, and to see a smile from him is just fantastic. Great attitude to the... Great role model, I think, for youngsters.
Absolutely. Romero remains at 7 under, 5 under for his round today. He's a wonderful, jovial character, Eduardo Romero.
Yes, he is.
Can't help smiling whenever you see him. Really.
Yeah.
He's just one of those sort of characters.
Great swinger of the club too. Been around for a long time, and
Cross with 157 left to the pin on the 10th, just trying to draw a 6-iron. Surprisingly short into the wind.
he's done pretty well this week, L1. Hasn't really been that situation for a long, long time. Not a regular tour player. To be at 6 under and playing with Monty, it's a good effort. It's a good round from Garcia. Very, very good. 66, giving himself a chance to win tomorrow, and that's all he can ask for, really.
He was suffering quite badly yesterday with a cold and a sore throat. He said he was struggling to swallow. Hopefully he's feeling a bit better.
Yeah, well, 66 will make you feel better. A terrific effort.
He finished well yesterday, just when it looked as though, I mean, there was a danger. He was going to miss the cut at one stage. He got to 1 over and then pulled it back beautifully over the last few holes.
Yeah, he's certainly a star. I think we saw on the PGA last year in America, he's able to make things happen, and he's certainly one of those players that can do that.
Quite an intimidating tee shot this can be, up on the top there on the 11th, all the water just behind. We saw plenty of players getting in there yesterday, playing into the wind.
See, it's crosswind there again today from the left-hand side. It isn't a hole like that. You try and gauge the fall of ground against the wind, and as you say, a lot of players are taking one club too much. It virtually plays its distance no matter what the wind's doing, though. Well, certainly if it's into you. Where it feels like you should take an extra club. I think to start the back nine, if you start par, it's a good start, actually. They're two very, very good holes.
And then chances here on the par 5 12th.
Yeah, I think the wind's been pretty consistent this week, and it's been helping the guys off the tee. Well, that doesn't look too good, does it? I think that's Monty's second there. Yeah. There's nothing you can do with that shot, especially with your feet outside the bunker.
There's a tendency sometimes for players to get somewhat irate when they find a lie like that, but of course they are supposed to be a hazard, and you did put it in there in the first place. That's a somewhat unsympathetic view, but
yeah, when you're sitting this side of the mic, I tend to agree with you. When you're when you're playing, you can't believe it. Yeah, I guess if you know, certainly you've got to accept that you're going to come up with a bad lie. If you had a poor shot, then you've got to accept it. I mean, it's hard to do that sometimes, but fact remains that you know, that's what the bunkers and the traps and the hazards are there for.
But I mean, the modern equipment, particularly obviously the sandwich which have developed and the player's skill and the ball and everything else, has rendered a lot of bunkers insignificant. In fact, you'd often rather be in the sand than in a difficult rough patch. So some people argue you shouldn't even rake bunkers.
I don't think it's you know, yes, the development of the flange and the sand wedges, L wedges, things like that have contributed towards it, but I would I think that it's got more to do with the conditioning of the bunkers nowadays. You know, the consistency of the sand, the way it's raked, the way it's looked after, does make it a lot easier. I think what they've done nowadays is to try and make bunker shots a little tougher, to make them deeper. You know, so you've got to have a bit more skill and finesse out the bunkers, but I think it's got more to do with the conditioning of the bunkers themselves.
Be interesting to see what the bunker's like at St Andrews for the Open this year. They have refaced all of them over the last year or so.
That would be very interesting there. I think that over there, you know, you do get the pot bunkers and the deeper bunkers, which certainly make things way more difficult than the bunkers on this course and on most courses that we play on tour.
We had a brief shot of Tony Johnston before that, driving here on the 14th, where Rodiles now is. Tony Johnston 2 under for the tournament, 1 over for his round today.
I think he'll be a bit disappointed with that big seat. Oh, a good tee shot. That's massive there on 14. Only have a short iron in. Because he's been playing very well, putting well, hitting the ball very well, driving well. So it's for par. That was a bit weak.
That's what you can hear in the background, a squirrel helicopter, which I'm sure will be annoying somebody.
Yeah, somebody's getting a bird's eye view. I don't know. It's been around all morning, actually.
Very good, solid player, Marcus Bryan.
Should have a chance of getting home in 2, I would think, with the wind conditions today. Slightly narrow entrance. You can draw it in there. It does help. Draw the bunkers off the right-hand side. Yeah. I think he'd have a reasonably. He's got quite a bit of green to work with there, so I don't think he should have too much of a problem getting it near the hole there. Oh.
Yeah, that really is becoming his Achilles heel. now he's got to keep his head on. He's playing here this week rather than playing in America, which he'd originally planned to do, to boost his confidence. He felt he had a better chance of getting a top result here in Europe, where he normally feels so comfortable. And he really is looking for a confidence booster.
You know, with a putter like Monty, it is all about confidence. You know, I'm sure once he, you know, if he holds a few putts in a row, he'll be off and running again. His technique is very sound, and it's just a matter of getting a few putts in the hole.
Ryan Davis coming up somewhat short with his birdie attempt on the 11th.
Oh.
You're not supposed to miss those.
I was just going to say, if he could get off to 2 pars on 10 and 11 and then get going from there, then so I'm sure he must be looking for a birdie now.
Well, that's a foot, isn't it? No more.
Bit of deceleration there, long backswing, a bit of deceleration. But trying to force it in the hole.
Hasn't even looked like doing that all week. His putting has been superb. Got a shot of Gary Evans, who's making up that final 3-ball. He's 6 over for today, gone out in 42 with doubles at the 1st and 4th. Very disappointing. I watched him on the practice ground this morning as well. He's hitting it nicely.
I thought his confidence was up too. He's been playing well this year. You know, he's at the moment Gary's battling a little bit to put 4 rounds together, and I don't think it's going to be very long before he's up near the winner's circle again, because he really has been playing well. He's longer got a lot more consistent. I think he's over his injuries. He had a bit of a wrist problem a few years ago. You know, and with all the good results that he's having, it builds confidence, and it wouldn't surprise me if he does have a win soon.
He actually may be suffering a little bit from the fact that his room was broken into last night, and his laptop computer was stolen, and he was up until gone 1 o'clock with the police trying to get that sorted out, which is not ideal preparation.
No, it's not. This is amazing with the technology now. Pros with laptop computers and everything. Stay in touch with everyone. He's another good performer, Gary Orr. Really has his own way of going about things, but he's a top-class pro and very consistent performer.
He's doing what he did yesterday, a steady run, just the odd birdie here and there, no drop shots, which is the way that Montgomery has made his fortune, yes. Really. And it was just that double bogey finish yesterday that spoiled his card.
Very fit guy, Gary. You know, you'd see him in the physio bus quite often during the week doing exercises.
And you're in there quite a lot yourself, of course.
Yes, I've been working pretty hard. So it's good to be fit again. But I know Gary's been doing this for about 2-3 years. I think he's got himself into shape, and it's paid off for him. He's been a very good performer the last few years, and I'm sure his fitness has got a lot to do with it.
Malaga-born 24-year-old who is now resident in Miami. The 14th hole, the most difficult one to find in regulation according to the AXA performance data.
Very good driving hole this. There's a bunker out on the right hand side, so in the fairway it's 270 to get there. But if you hit a 3-wood off the tee, you tend to leave yourself with about a 5-iron in, I think. So you try and get as close to the bunker as you can, and obviously you do get, you know, if you hit a 2 straight, then it runs into the bunker with a steep lip, so it's hard to get the green for your second. And then there's a bunker down the left-hand side that you can find with your tee shot too. So it's a very, very good driving hole.
Tee up on the 11th. 166 yards to the pin. You can see they've come forward from that one some 20 yards or so. Juan Quiros safely into the middle of the green.
Supposed to be aiming at the neck, the hand somewhere. Played a bit.
Fantastic balance again. Yeah, good shot. I think the 3-putt in the previous hole has probably got him a little annoyed now.
Marcus Breyer over the greenside bunker at the 12th.
It's over pitched a little bit. I think he could come back a little bit there. There's a very steep tier. I'm sure he hasn't tried to play it like that. But there was certainly that backup behind the flag.
This was the hole that was redesigned because of that 250-year-old oak tree up near the green on the left-hand side, and it was moved 60 metres or so to accommodate that, to make sure that didn't have to be taken down.
Actually, that's fantastic. I didn't know that, and it's a great feature on the hole because it does come into play with your second. Good move there. Very strong through the ball.
I imagine Brian Davis feels very comfortable here because it's not dissimilar in many regards to the lifestyle that he likes, or the sort of course he likes. He loves playing over in Florida. That's really his second home. It's where his coach is based, and he goes and spends a lot of time over there.
Yes, it is a bit like that. As I said earlier, on premium on tee shots, and it is a bit target orientated, the golf course. And certainly with the water around the course, and then the rough is very well manicured this week, pretty consistent all over the place.
Sergio Garcia, clubhouse leader at 6 under after his 66 today. But Brian Davis out on his own. That shot of Carl Sunderson. Interesting to see Sunderson in Pyman playing together. Were 1 and 2 on the Challenge Tour last year, both doing well this week. Marcus Breyer was 3rd on the Challenge Tour last year. Stephen Scarhill was 5th on the Challenge Tour last year. He's at 4 under in the penultimate group. Says something about what a good training ground that is.
Yes, it is. Fantastic competition. Gets them used to traveling. When I first started traveling internationally, I played up in Canada, and more than anything else, you know, playing in different countries, it acclimatizes you to traveling and trying to keep your game together, because you're not with your coach all the time. You've got to make do some weeks, and it prepares you for the task ahead, or for the career ahead. So it's a terrific training ground. And I think it's been very successful actually. Last year I think it was, of the 15 guys that came off the Challenge Tour, I think might have been as many as 13 kept their cards. So another fantastic indicator that it is working.
Disappointing for Breyer, only to make 5 there on 12.
Yeah, I think he would have felt that that's giving a shot away.
Tasty.
Oh, beautiful putt. Really good. Stayed down on that one.
Bouncing back from the drop shot on 13. He's actually won £777 this year from a 61st place in Madeira, but he's not on the order of merit because he's not a fully paid up member of the tour. I'm not quite sure why not. Do you know?
No, I don't know actually. The first time I've seen him, more than likely didn't go to the tour school, I should imagine, or if he did go to the tour school.
But was a long way down. He was 138th or something, I think.
Yeah. He obviously didn't get a tour card then, and I should imagine that he's obviously a good player. I should imagine through his finishes in Spain that he is able to get a start this week. Good player to be at 7 under, so I'm sure we'll see him on the tour in the not too distant future.
He did play in the Saracen Open here in October and finished 10th. So he
likes the golf course.
saying earlier,
yeah.
it's obviously one he likes.
Yes.
Gary Orr now for birdie on 14. Lovely stroke.
Yeah. Just a bit too bold. Good putt though.
Worked a lot on the mental side of the game. Has this vision each time he has a practice putt of seeing the ball rolling into the hole.
Yeah. I think, you know, Julian, I think in years to come, certainly there are a lot of players around that are doing that kind of exercise now. Greats of the past have utilized it fantastically. I remember a great story about Gary Player once when he won a Masters, and he stood in front of the leaderboard for a while, and he had a look at the top of the leaderboard and saw his name there, and would you believe he won the tournament? So there's a lot to be said about picturing what you want to do and
visualization.
And yes,
it's one that a lot of athletes use as well, isn't it? They see themselves leading as they go over the hurdles or down the sprint, breasting the tape first.
Yeah,
all those sort of things.
Monty's very good at it. I know he. Beautiful swing again. He uses that technique a lot, and I think that's why he looks so relaxed all the time. Well, bad luck there. A good shot.
He's developed that, working as we watch him now, making his par, hopefully.
Yeah.
The 11th.
Yeah, it is.
Working with a good friend of mine, a sports psychologist called Hugh Mantle, who is working with one or two of the players now, Steve Webster and Andrew Coulthard, amongst others.
I think it's the way of the future in golf. You know, the superstars like Monty, and Ernie and Woods, they're traveling so much nowadays that the time available to them to actually physically practice is becoming less and less. And I think this ability to visualize is certainly better than doing hours and hours of practice, and it allows them to keep on playing well week after week after week, because they feel comfortable with what they're seeing and they're allowing the body to do the work.
One of the very simple mnemonics that Hugh Mantle uses, and certainly he's given me, and I think is very good. He likes you to focus on one thing only, preferably throughout the round, for your swing, and decide what that's going to be. And it might be for a round, it might be for a week, it might be for months at a time. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But when you hit your shot, first thing you do is accept it, because there's nothing you can do about it, and you don't. I mean, you might momentarily get cross about it, but accept it. Learn from it. In other words, did you focus as you intended to do? If you didn't, then why not? Let's get it right. And then focus. So the mnemonic is ALF, ALF. Accept, learn, focus.
Right.
And it's a very effective method, I think.
Yes, it is.
And you've done quite a lot of that sort of thing with Scott Banfield.
Yes, we have worked hard. We've worked very hard the last year doing that, and it's a very underutilized part of a golfer's makeup, I think. It's you know, to think that our game essentially is very, very mental when it comes to playing good golf. You know, we're a long way behind athletes. You know, you have a look, you think of the runners and how they go over and over through a race, and it's it seems like such a simple thing to do, to run 100 meters, but they really do visualize themselves going down the track, and it's only now that golfers are starting to do that. En masse, I should say. You know, there have been the individual and the odd exceptions, but there are more and more guys that are doing it, and I think that it's going to improve the level of professional golf dramatically.
Quiros in perfect shape down the right-hand side of the 12th, unlike Gary Evans, who had a little duck hook there. That was the one thing he was tending to do as he was warming up. He was getting a little bit quick, a bit short at the top, and that's always a danger when you get quick.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just a lack of rhythm. Somebody's phoning home.
That's a classic bit of Montyism. He does love to be in charge on the golf course.
Yes, yeah.
He's marshal, referee, player, and everything else rolled into one.
Yeah, guys just phoned home and said Monty made double on the 10th.
Well, he's been outdriven by one. By 20 yards.
Yeah, one can hit it. He really can.
And Monty's not short.
No, he's not. Oh, the fairways, yeah, I must admit that it all depends on where you pitch. They certainly roll along, very much linksy, and you know, and they're pretty firm. If you catch the downslope of your tee shot, you know, they're just little slopes, little hills. You catch a downslope, and it's an extra 30 yards of your playing partner. So it's a bit of good fortune involved.
Brian Davis, another player, getting just about hole high in 2 on the 12th, and now struggling to make his par. Now, in case you've not been with us so far, let's just bring you up to date with the way the third round has gone. Juan Quiros having had a dodgy start, making a good birdie at the 7th, double bogeyed the 2nd, and bogeys at 4 and 6 as well. Went out in 38. Dropped a shot at the 10th as well. He's back to 5 under. Marcus Breyer, the Austrian. Good start to his round. Birdie at the 2nd and birdies at 7 and 8 as well to go out in 33, but dropped a shot at the 10th. 7 under. Up ahead of them, Eduardo Romero making a great charge. Eagle putt at the 12th from just 4.5 feet, having gone out in 33. We saw him just a moment ago tapping in almost for birdie on the 15th to go to 8 under. Colin Montgomery, flying start to his round. Birdied the 1st and 3rd, just missed a birdie at the 2nd as well. But really set back. Having hit a glorious shot into the 9th. He missed that birdie putt. Out in 34, all of that was going all right, but then came the setback on the 10th. This one for bogey. Probably the shot that players least like, the little left to righter. Nonetheless, double bogey. While Spain's young hero, Sergio Garcia, was burning things up ahead. Great second shot into the 18th, had that putt for 65, didn't make it, but 66 got him to 6 under. Brian Davis with a little bit of a lucky bounce into the 9th, took full advantage to go out in 33. Birdies at the 3rd and 7th prior to that. Good drive down the 10th. Judging from the held pose, a pretty good second, and sure enough it was, straight at it. Made his birdie there to go to 9 under par. So Marcus Breyer, having dropped his only shot of the day at the 10th, at 7 under. Carlos Rodriguez, 4 under for the day. Thomas Gergler out in 32. One birdie coming back, he's through 15 at 7 under. Romero also through 15, 8 under. Brian Davis with a longish birdie putt to come on the 12th. Like Marcus Breyer, he'll be frustrated to make only par here. Oh, he's got it.
Cool. Lovely. He's trying to put a bit of space between him and the chasing pack at the moment. He's looking good, driving the ball well.
He's feeling much happier within himself now. He had a few personal problems last year, and as we've seen with many great players over the years, notably Nick Faldo in recent times, when things are not right off the course, it really can influence the way you perform on it.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. think what's helped Brian over the last few years is that he has a good relationship with his caddy, with Vern. They've been together for quite some time. Great shot from Mark Sproul there. And I think that has a stabilising influence as well. They've formed a very good partnership, and it's paying off now.
20 out with the 3-wood, 256 yards left to the pin. That should just kick down a bit with a bit of luck.
Oh, yes. Beautiful shot. He might come back with this. He's got just over the top.
That was unlucky. That could have rolled back very
yes,
close.
It could have done. Still a good shot there. A long way out.
Brian Davis onto this big drop down from the 13th.
Important tee shot for him.
So many players have ended up in the woods down the right-hand side.
I think what they tend to, what you're scared of on this particular hole as well is hitting it left, because the left-hand rough is some of the worst in the golf course, and with the water short of the green, it's very, very difficult to get it up over the water. So it generally means chipping out and hitting a wedge or 9-iron in for your third and trying to make par from there. So it's you certainly don't want to go there, and I think that's why quite a few guys have sort of leaked it right.
He sent the caddy on down the fairway, save him walking back up, and he obviously wasn't absolutely certain which club he was going to hit. Got the driver and 3-wood up there.
I think Vern was saying, please let me walk down there, because that's a big climb up to the tee there.
From 20 yards or so closer to the 12th, Kouros didn't quite get all of that.
No,
I don't
he
think.
didn't. It looked like he had a little thin. Again, you could see there how he caught the downslope on one of these little hills, and he's scuttled on into the bunker. So there's not too far to go there. I'm sure you're getting up there. You would think about making up and down there for birdie.
15th is a 504 dogleg right par 5, very reachable in 2 for most players.
Yeah, I think this is probably the easiest hole on the course. Once you've got your tee shot away, once it's on anywhere on the fairway down there, and you can get up in 2, straight at the top of the flag there. Good shot.
18th easiest hole, 18th for greens in regulation and putts per round. Curiously, the poorest for driving accuracy.
It's about 260 out. There's a dog leg on that particular hole, and I would think that from a driving accuracy point of view, I'd say quite a lot of guys have gone through the fairway more than missed the fairway. It's about 290, I think, through the fairway, but you're way up above the fairway again, so 290 is not that far. And with the way the wind's been blowing right behind you, it's quite easy to run through the fairway there.
Tasty shot from Carl Sunderson, who's very much in the frame at 6 under.
Yeah, lovely tee shot again. Really looking good, Mark Sproul. That's a good rhythm. Staying aggressive.
Third shot for Juan Kouros at the 12th.
Yeah, lovely shot. I've yet to come across a Spaniard that can't play good bunker shots. They're very, very good out the sand. Fantastic.
Domingo Hospital was telling me last year we were having a little session in the bunker, and he said Seve had told him early in his career you must spend at least an hour a day on the beach. And he was talking about bunker play, not sunning himself. Very impressive crowds out today. Good to say. It is, of course, a 4-day holiday, so lots of people having a little R&R.
Yeah. Just the local players are doing well this year. This year as well. So a lot of players to support.
This would just get him going again, maybe, if Monty can make the eagle here.
Yeah, I think he'd be very happy to make this putt. I think he'd be happy to two-putt from there, actually. It's all pace, this. It's going down a big slope, down towards the green, toward the flag at least. There's a good indication of how high is above the hole. Beautiful putt again. Lovely pace.
Had a few little words of advice from Pete Coleman on the way round about what the ball will do, particularly as it gets close to the hole, and he's been absolutely spot on.
Pete has years of experience, obviously, being a flanger for years and years and years, and you know, I think certainly knows his way around the golf course and what to whisper into the player's ear.
Tournament leader. The ideal position. Oh, yes.
Yeah, beautiful shot. Looking quite relaxed out there, leading the tournament. There's a 3-shot lead, but it's you know, trying for your first win. It's always a hard experience, or not a hard experience, but it's a bit of a nervous experience, I suppose. He's looking pretty good.
He'll be doing well if he looks the same this time tomorrow afternoon.
Yes.
Actually, this time tomorrow afternoon it should all be over. Early finish tomorrow. Ideas for birdie. Or for eagle, rather. Back birdies gets him back to 8 under.
Certainly been moving day today for a lot of players. Good scores out there today. 5, 6, 5.
Quiros for his birdie.
He needs this now. It's a must-make putt. Yes, well done. They're giving him some heart for the next few holes, and there's certainly quite a few birdie holes coming home. Shortage par 5 we can get into, and trying to pick up a few more. I think he gets back to 8 under. I think he'll be very happy with his day's work.
Carl Sunnison dominated the Challenge Tour last year, winning the Challenge Tour Championship at Bowood, down near Caen in Wiltshire. Lovely club. Did well to win there. Actually, the greens weren't in great shape last year. They've got a new head greenkeeper there who's getting things sorted out. But, he had 3 wins in all, including one here in Spain at El Sala.
It's good to see him back on tour. Always been a very, very good ball striker. I think he had a few problems with his health that he sorted out, and like expect that to come back towards the hole. Hits the ball tremendous distances.
He stays at 6 under. Go to 7 under.
Yes.
He really has got a very, very consistent stroke now. He hits every putt. It seems to be exactly the same.
Very solid. Very, very solid. A bit more rhythm to it. I remember watching him last year practicing. Very hard practice as well. And it looked a bit mechanical. It looks like he's got his rhythm into his stroke now, and it's really
doesn't look as though it's going to be a problem at all, does
no,
it? It's just
no.
rock solid. 13th. Wind pushing the ball over into those trees. Right hand side.
Cameras, okay? No cameras, please. Thank you.
That's the #1 marshal in Europe.
Yes.
Marshal Montgomery. Of course, Field Marshal Montgomery. It's normally Alistair's job to do a bit of that as well. Pete Coleman's having to exercise his vocals more than usual.
He's having a good look at that one. I would think that it's well right. Ah, he's got a fantastic break there, back in the fairway.
Not the longer second than he was expecting, but at least it's off the cut grass. He has leaked one or two this week, most uncharacteristically.
Chance Hendon.
Lanky Australian.
Hits the ball a long way as well. A very relaxed swing and generates tremendous power.
.3". Dropped a shot at the second, but since has had birdies at the 5th, 8th and 12th to be 6 under for the tournament.
Middle of the fairway. I don't think he'll have. Should be around about an 8 iron, I think, the tee shot that he's hit. Right, pull it back.
Marcus Breyer, coached by his club pro at Fortuna, just outside Vienna, Claude Greiner. He's been the club pro there for the last 3 years, but he's also got a pro on the bag.
Oh, that's interesting.
Caddy Gerhard Reiner.
Another good-looking putt. Oh, he's looking very, very solid. Really is. No effort in the stroke at all. Good start to the back nine. That's terrific.
Trying hard not to smile.
Yes, I think he's having fun out there at the moment.
Simpson to the par 5, 15th.
I'd be surprised if Carl's got a driver here. I would think this is a 3-wood tee shot for him. Just get it in play, and then you've got an iron in for your second. That's all right. There's the dog leg. That's what I was talking about. Perhaps missing the fairways here through the dog leg there. He'll probably have a middle iron there. 5 iron in for his second there.
There's a prominent tree just on the right-hand side of the fairway on the dog leg there, which is at 270. And you can, Steve Webster's been hitting driver, flying over the top of that, flying at 290.
I know there are quite a few players out here this week. Actually, most of the guys have been able to do that with the wind conditions, because it has been assisting us on that particular hole.
He's more used to being on the snow than the sand. That's his job.
Let's see if Monty can make something of this of the break that he's had here.
.68 left to go.
Wind might have died there. Looks a bit surprised. think it's one of those holes when you're down the fairway, the wind does feel very strong, but there's a hill protecting the green up on the left-hand side there, and if you get the ball flight a bit too low, the wind doesn't affect it at all.
This has been a problem throughout the week here, that because the car for the hole-in-one is right behind the tee, you get people walking behind the car thinking that they can't be seen, I think, and just distracting the players on the tee.
Nice prize, anyway.
Peugeot 206, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, good family car.
You being a good family man, you're disappointed not to have slotted it.
Yeah.
.98 to the pin today. A good 3-iron.
Good shot. Well, good group of par threes here this week. The varying distances. They're very demanding par threes. They're 2 long ones. So 3 irons in, and then and a 6 and a 5 iron, but they're certainly all different. Downhill, uphill.
Monty was
Lovely
going
shot.
in with a 7-iron. It's just a sandwich for Chris.
As the ball coming out the rough, they just released on him a little bit off the fairway. It could have come back towards the hole, but still a good shot.
Gary Evans, after dropping 6 shots in the first 5 holes, has since gone par all the way. Just 1 under. Can only think that what happened last night really did upset him. First time he's played with Monty, he'll be very disappointed with his performance.
Yes, I think he would be. I think he's going to... Brian, I'm sure he's going to have a bit of a problem there this second, because it's still quite a way to the green from there, and the lip is quite steep. Very good.
He's done it again.
These greens are so good, they really are. The run on them is so true that you can pick your line and just roll it home. Beautiful. 8 under par.
He didn't win on the Challenge Tour last year, but had 2 runner-up spots and 3 third places to finish 3rd overall.
Fantastic to see the new faces up on the leaderboard, isn't it, Julian? It's created a lot of interest on the tour. From all the different countries as well. Lovely shot. Such a good long game player, Monty, that you don't often realise how good his short game is. Superb touch around the greens.
Although he spent more time than usual warming up around the chipping green this morning, because that's has been his weakness this week. We've seen him hit 1 or 2 curiously poor pitches. But all things are relative. I mean, here, you know, he's hit a poor tee shot and he's walked off with par.
Yes, that's right.
Very typical Monty.
Yeah.
You talk of new names at the top, but if you just look down the leaderboard, there are a few more senior veterans there as well who are certainly making their presence felt, with Romero at 9 under. second place, and Thomas Gurgler, Gary Orr, Colin Montgomery, Sergio Garcia, all right there. Sven Struve too, having suffered at the 10th and 11th, eagled the 12th, and has just birdied 15 and 16 as well. He's at 5 under.
I think it looks like it's up to Brian now. If he can finish a few more birdies, I think he's going to be. He's sort of distanced himself from a lot of the field, and there will be only a few guys that will be able to catch him.
Philip Price didn't have the best of days yesterday. He's finished with a 69. He's at 4 under for the tournament. And Didier Devoot, another man, I think from memory, I think he was 4th on the Challenge Tour last year. He's got it to 4 under, 2 under for the day with a couple to go.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how many guys from the Challenge Tour out there, because I think John Senden came through the Challenge Tour the year before.
That's right. Finished 69th in the Order of Merit last year in his rookie season.
Good shot. Up in 2 there, cutting for eagle.
Romero, I mentioned, up into 2nd place thanks to that birdie at the 17th. Andrew Coulthard, incidentally, who we've rather lost touch with after double bogey at the 9th, bogeyed the 10th and 11th as well. He got one back at the 12th, but he's just 3 under now for the tournament, 2 over for the day.
Very good touch, fantastic touch. Gave himself a chance.
Francisco Thayer, who was another man who did very well at the Saracen Open here last year. He's finished with a 70, he's at 1 under. 72 for Paul Affleck, Roger Chapman and Helge Cabrera, they're all at 1 under.
There's Brian just laying it up. But the lip is really quite steep there, and he's given himself a chance of making par now. If you had a go and it'd be quite easy to stay in the bunker and destroy a good score. He's done the wise thing there, and so giving himself a chance to make par. Eddie's getting excited there.
Rodriguez, yeah. Over Tharball, which earlier recorded a 71. He's at level par for the tournament.
He hasn't quite found the same form as when he won the Masters last year. He's battled a little bit the last 8-9 months, really.
Eduardo Romero, Spanish Open champion at Club de Campo in 1991. So he's going to be challenging again tomorrow.
Yeah, birdie for the low round of the week.
Chances of Garcia charge for his first national win.
Well, I think he'd certainly be up for it anyway.
Gosh, that could pull the crowds in.
Oh, yeah, it will do. You know, there's doesn't matter where you play in the world. You know, if you've always, every player wants to win his national open. So I think he'll be the adrenaline will be up and flowing, and I'm sure he'll give a good account of himself.
We've got Carl Sinnison and Juan Quiros both there at 6 under as well at the moment. So more Spanish interest, and of course Carlos Rodil is going very well at 8 under. Yeah, could be a crowded day.
Yes.
Not good news for those of us hoping to get to the airport afterwards.
Yeah. speak the helicopter pilot that's been flying over you all day.
Perhaps he'd let me borrow it. Søren Hansen finished with a 67 at 5 under.
Roger Chapman at 1 under, won his first tournament recently. It was good to see. I was very pleased for him.
And as he was telling us yesterday, he's just had laser eye surgery.
Yes, I believe so, and it's obviously made quite a difference to him.
You thought about that?
I don't think I need it at the moment. I can still see the ball about as far as I hit it, 200 yards. Yeah.
John Bickerton, such a consistent performer now, in with a 70 today. Game just not quite there, having to work pretty hard for it. Thomas Bjorn a 73 at 1 over.
I think he'll be a bit disappointed with that.
Went out in 38, started back, bogey, birdie, 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 par birdie, and then a double bogey 6 on the 17th. Dangerous hole, that 17th.
It is.
Getting some high numbers racked up there.
Yeah, a very, very tough tee shot again. Again, you're about 60, 70 foot above the fairway. The wind all week has been blowing into the player off the left-hand side. And once you get on the fairway, it's still a good 200 yards into the green, so straight into the wind. So it's been a good drive and a good long iron in there. Tough hole.
Brian Davis hasn't dropped a shot yet today. He's done the sensible thing out of the bunker. Now he needs a good shot.
Yeah, well played.
He's done the important thing. He's given himself a chance of making par.
Yeah. He's played that really well. You know, I'm sure the adrenaline's flowing and he's excited, and knowing obviously that he's playing well, he could easily have tried to have a go at the green there and made a hash of it. So he's thinking well, and it's good to see.
Well, Simonsen's eagle putt, leaving him a tap in.
Gee, I hope he doesn't hit it that hard.
On the 15.
Yeah, well done.
Playing with Emanuele Canonico, who's 3 over for his round today, 1 under for the tournament, and Ian Pyman 1 over today, 3 under for the tournament.
I really thought Ian was going to play well the weekend. I played with him the first 2 days, and he drove the ball fantastically. Putted well, and well, he might still have a good weekend. But he's looking really good.
This would be a really good save if he can make it.
Oh, good putt there. So, got past the hole, gave himself a chance. It is a tough hole, tough driving hole.
Still, he's limited the damage to just 1 shot dropped. Clear of the field. Eduardo Romero with a birdie on that troublesome 17th.
One of a few of the week, I should imagine.
7 under for his round, playing the last. He hasn't made bogey today. Scar Hill. 1 over for the round.
Won
the Challenge Tour Grand Final in Cuba last year. First time he'd been there, going back again this year.
Interesting place to go to. No, I've never been. Certainly take us all over the world, don't they, in the European Tour schedule.
The woes continue for Gary Evans. Pulled his tee shot on the 14th.
Seems though that's the shot that's got him into trouble this today. Again, left of the flag. It's all rhythm and timing that really. The swing can't change really. Can't change much overnight. So it's just speed up a little bit.
Gary's just been over in California for the last week with his coach Sean Goodis. They went to the Callaway Centre at Carlsbad and put in a lot of work there. Monty 196 yards out again, getting it almost exactly the right distance, but just pulling it a fraction. No real damage.
I think he'd be happy to pick up a shot or two going home and then try and work it out in the practice team. Wonderful shoulder turn for a big guy. Beautiful.
Well, he doesn't waste it with practicing. He's got plenty left in the bank. Of course, once again, a bit closer.
Yeah, again pin high. Monty giving me a good idea of what the line is. Very expressive play, isn't it? It's much like watching the Walrus or Craig Stadler. He's one of my favorite players to watch because you can see exactly what's happening out in the golf course without anybody telling you. And, great body language.
He's got a well-lived-in face, hasn't he? He's only 44. He looks like he could be 10 years older.
Good shot. Got that for a great round of golf today. So he's far.
I've knocked that one in for a 65. Fair distance to go for Marcus Bryant to come out of the rough.
Oh, good
The
roll there.
second.
Very well.
Thomas Gogler, like Romero, has not dropped a shot today. 5 birdies.
Down there.
He's left himself that little tester you probably don't want on the last
Yeah,
green.
especially looking at a little left to right there as well. He's pulled that. That doesn't look good. So this is the hole where you don't make birdie. If you don't make 4, you really feel like you have given a shot up to the field. You know, I think Brian would be upset if he didn't make 4. But having looked at the distance he's just hit it, I don't think he'll have more than a 6 iron in there. So he should have a good chance of getting it close to the green, if not in, if not on.
Monty now trying to concentrate on his game of golf rather than the world of golf, which he spent much of the winter doing. He has a very busy life outside his playing routine, involved in helping to design a course in Dubai, Emirates Hills, which is due to open later this year, and apparently it's an absolute cracker.
Is that the first one he's been involved with?
Yes, I think he's involved now with others, but that was the first one,
Yeah.
designed by Desmond Muirhead, the man who designed Muirfield Village, with Monty's assistance.
There's a bowl putt. actually quite interesting. It's the first time I've seen him use that putter. That's the sort of practice putter that Payne Stewart made so famous, I think. And
Exactly. Seymour.
yeah.
Don't know what Carl Sunderson's garage is like, but I'm sure it would be enhanced by a nice Peugeot estate.
The rake's helped him there.
Now, I wonder what that's going to do when they take the rake away. And I do believe that's Juan Curas's brother watching. Not quite another birdie.
Still a good par. Par's a good, very good score on that 14th hole. Nice aggressive swing there.
The deal is on 17th.
Two good shots there.
Ball of Gary Orr already on the green. Romero to finish with a 65.
Well done. Fantastic round of golf.
Equaling the course record.
Certainly gives himself a chance to win tomorrow. That'll be, I'm sure they'll have a lot of support from the locals as well.
Thomas Gergler tapped in for his 4. Well, a bit more than a tap in, but he made his 4. 67, he's at 7 under.
Oh,
Marcus Bryant.
great putt.
He looks very composed and controlled, and he's playing awfully well.
Let's see what I've been doing. What I did wrong the first 2 days, I didn't hold enough putts. Yeah, look at these guys. A lot easier out there. There's another one. Ah, great. Well done, John.
It is a fact
2
of
balls.
modern life. If you can't putt on tour, you haven't got a hope in hell.
No, you don't. I think the gap has narrowed a lot between the best ball strikers and the rest. You know, with the conditions of golf course in general improving dramatically over the last few years on the European Tour, it has become I wouldn't say a putting contest week after week, but the good putters certainly have an advantage.
Alex Checker is a classic example of somebody who is right up there, tee to green, but he's just let down by his chipping and putting in particular.
With the results that Alex has had, you know, he does putt well every now and again. He's more of a streaky putter, I would say, than a consistent one. It's almost a gift. It's lovely to watch good putters. It's the artist sort of side of golf.
The great thing I think about the Challenge Tour is that, particularly looking at somebody like Sunderson, winning 3 times last year, he got the feeling of performing under the gun. Okay, it's not in the high profile of the full European Tour with big crowds watching, but nonetheless you're having to do it with some very good players pressing you.
Oh yeah, you know, I think you get used to the fact of used to winning, and it's not only the fact that you win, you get to know what to do in those in those conditions, and what to focus on. Stick to your game plan. You know, you've obviously. Oh, that really was a bad line. The way the standard is nowadays, I think if you can win on the challenge tour, then you certainly can win on the main tour as well.
Ramiro now the clubhouse leader. But Brian Rodiles have kept right in there most impressively.
Played really well today.
And Juan Quiros too. I thought there was a danger the way he started, because he is known for losses of concentration every now and then, that he might have dropped right away, but he hasn't.
Oh, it's out to get off the tee there.
It's in Davis country.
Yeah, it looked like it's nestled down there as well. Actually surprised they're taking driver there, because again it's a 3-wood of the tee is really sufficient, and you can still get up to the green in 2.
It is or Johnston on the 17th. Tony still 2 under. Not an easy putt to judge that. Player we haven't seen or reported on today, playing with John Sendon and Marcus Bryce. Thomas Levy, who started the day at 4 under, he's now back to level par. Diaz stays at 8 under with 1 to go.
Scoring's been very good today. Lost a lot of ground with a score round par today.
Brian Davis on the par 5, so he shouldn't drop a shot here to the card. Still got a good chance of making his 4.
Yes, he does. It looks like he has more or less the same shot as he had on the previous hole. Oh, first a little bit shorter. Played that really well. Fantastic.
The scoring shot.
Yes, it is. He's worked really hard on that part of his game. The wedge play. It's actually, I think when you first come out on tour, it's most of the guys have to work really hard in that department. It's a good par serving shot and scoring shot when you on the par 5s, because the par 5s nowadays have generally got longer and longer, and this week is a bit of an exception, although there's certainly 1 par 5 out of reach in 2. But that's the shot that makes the birdies on the par 5s.
Now Monty's gone with driver down 15, and he's left himself a short shot in.
Yeah, it favours Monty's game there, you know, that he's able to slide it a bit more, or fade it a bit more easier than most guys, and the hole sets itself up for that shot. Looked like Cole peaked a little bit there, wasn't it? Disappointing bogey.
Almost invariably, when the head comes up a little bit early, you tend to tug the putt.
Yeah, yeah. So easy to do when you're on the downhillers too, and you just, you're just trying to trickle it down there.
3 or 4 on for Marcus Breyer on the 16th.
Beautiful shot.
Probably a 4 iron for him.
Yes, I think so, especially with the I mean, look at the wind conditions now. It seems like they're dying a little bit. John could be using it. Oh, 5-iron. He's really powerful with these irons.
I talked to Gordon Brown Jr., who was out early on. He took a 3-iron here.
Good shot.
Fans of Andrew Coltart will be pleased to know that he's made an eagle at the 15th. Get back to level for the day, 5 under for the tournament. That's not out of it.
Yeah, really thick on the left-hand side of 15 there. And he hasn't kept in the fairway, I don't think so. He's going to have a... Oh, there we go. Yeah, getting a little frustrated at the moment.
It's a good friend of his. What's his name? Carlos Vivas, I think, on the bag this week for Juan Quiros. Davis now to extend his lead.
Yeah, he's done well there. He's got the shot back that he dropped the previous hole, which is important, and he made tough work of it, making birdie there, but still he's done it, and so making him feel a bit more comfortable with the last few holes. Finish on this golf course is very good. They requires some good iron play, solid shots, and I think he'll feel a bit more comfortable now. Like he's pulled it there. Some fairway bunkers up on the left-hand side. We might have pulled it left of those bunkers. Friendly bounces there. Bunkers up the left-hand side that you can't see off the tee. Although by the third day, you know where they are. But it's a hole where you definitely need to try and get the ball on the fairway to attack the flag. Otherwise, coming out the rough with around about 6-iron, flying, it's hard to stop on the green. The green's slightly above you on this particular hole, so it's important to try and get it down the fairway on this on the 18th.
Gary made a statutory 4 on the 17th, but Tony Johnson, I'm afraid, had a double bogey 6, so he's now level for the tournament. Monty just unlucky to run out of fairway, makes the shot that little bit more difficult, liable to catch a little bit of grass between the club face and the ball.
Little break there. So he has a chance to make eagle. He'll be trying to chip that one in. Again, pin high. It's the same thing. So week in, week out, year in, year out, he's able to hit the ball in that area.
Within one of the lead.
Really solid putting stroke there. Oh.
How unlucky was that?
Looks like I was dead centre there at one stage. Very solid. Doesn't move the wrist at all. Back of the shoulder, back and through the shoulders.
Well, the distance is well done because of the tug into the rough, but even so, I think he's probably been a little bit lucky here.
Yes, he has. Can't be too far from those bunkers there, which would have made it an awkward shot because you have to go over a tree. If you hit in the bunkers here, you actually have to go over a tree that's between you and the green. Out the semi-rough there, it's giving him a far better chance. Yeah, he's done well from there.
Very different finish to his 6.5 yesterday.
One's third shot on 15. And really well, fantastic shot.
Senden.
Good effort. It's a good par though. It's one of those holes again where you'd be, make it, well, obviously make birdie anywhere, it's a bonus, but you're always happy to make par on 16.
Tied 6th in the European Open is his best performance so far, so he's giving him himself a chance of improving on that. Tie of 5th place. Decent smack, nearly 300 yards for Rodiles.
Very good. Terrific shot. It looks like it's picking up a little bit again. You're very lucky with the weather this week. The clouds all around. No rain or lightning.
Thankfully, we've had a couple of days dry now because it was getting pretty boggy after the
Yes.
heavy rain on the first day.
Yeah.
But it's been not only a well-designed but a well-built course. They've got the good drainage in, monsoon drains. It really has played very well. It's matured beautifully.
Yes, it has.
Conor Montgomery made a very good start to his round. Birdie at the first, just to tap in. Birdie at the third as well, out in 34, double bogeyed the 10th. 7 under. Good day for Gary Orr. Out in 34, birdies at the 12th and 15th. Playing the last, he's 7 under for the tournament. Rodiles went out in 32, dropped a shot at the 13th, immediately got it back with that putt at the 14th and birdied the 15th as well. He's at 8 under. Austria's finest, Marcus Breyer, went out in 33, dropped a shot at the 10th. Birdie without a problem at the 13th, tap in. Took him to 8 under once again. Rather more testing birdie putt on the par 5 15th. 9 under. Same score as the man who shot the lowest round of the day, helped along by this very short eagle putt on the 12th. Eduardo Romero. No bogeys in sight, 65, no wonder he's grinning. from North London, Brian Davis. Putting together a great round, went out in 33. Three birdies going out. Birdie 10 and 12. And 13. Made a good bogey, if there is such a thing, and it certainly was a good bogey at the 14th, which took him back to 10 under. Found a bit of trouble off the tee on the par 5 15th, but with that to the right for third shot, was able to make birdie to go back to 11 under once again. And tied fourth place, Carlos Rodiles at 8 under. Marcus Breyer and Eduardo Romero both at 9 under. But the leader by 2, Brian Davis, man who tried to win his card on the US Tour last year, came up just one shot shy at the qualifying school. Montgomery looking to chip in for eagle. That's certainly what he would have been thinking of. Brian Davis onto the par 3 16th. He's got a swing a little bit like Alex Checker in a way, in that sort of very aggressive move he makes through the ball.
Yeah, they tend to. Or that was a good solid putt. That good rhythm in the stroke, and very bold, good ball. Very much of an upper body move. The two of them have generate all their power through the movement of the body, and it's guys like that tend to hit the ball very consistently. You know, week after week. There's not as much can go wrong, and they you know, it's easier to work the ball that way too.
Eduardo Romero, clubhouse leader after he's 65 at 9 under. Gary Orr safely in with a 68. Thomas Gurgler a 67. Both at 7 under. Sven Struve finished with a 69. He's at 5 under. Coulthard, after a bad run around the turn, double bogeyed 9, bogeyed 10 and 11. But now with birdie at 12 and eagle at 15, back into the frame at 5 under.
Just to get within 2. Oh, he looked up on that. Still a very good round. He has to be happy with that. It's given him a chance for tomorrow, and I would think another 67 might do the trick tomorrow.
Just depends a little bit how the others finish, but he's certainly got a chance of being in the final group, if not the ultimate group.
Johnston.
It'll be a 2T start tomorrow with an early finish, due to be finishing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon local time. Incidentally finished with a 73 today, 3 over for the tournament, and Heniotto at a 78.
good to see them make the cut, actually. Ian needs a good finish, being through the tour school and re-ranking coming up soon. I'm sure he'd love a good round tomorrow. But so he's playing well. I think he went to go and visit his friend David Ledbetter last week when he was in the States, and was feeling a lot more comfortable with his game. When I spoke to him last evening, he said that he had 6 3-putts during the course of the first 2 rounds, and being a 2 over par, it's obviously cost him quite a bit. I haven't seen him today, so I'm not too sure he putted today.
I saw him briefly after his round, and he wasn't overly enthused.
Yeah.
Henny Otto, another man who has come through success on the Challenge Tour. He finished 6th on the Challenge Tour last year. Didier Devouten said in it, I said I thought he was 4th. He wasn't. He was 11th.
Yeah, I think of Henny, he certainly has the talent and the potential to do very, very well out here. I think he finished 4th on the Challenge Tour. That's too many starts. Yeah, there's 3 in a row that Monty's pulled left. I'm not sure if it's alignment or what it is, but it's been pin high and left every time. Great big shoulder turn.
There's so much unorthodox about his swing. It's actually quite difficult to spot why it is getting offline.
Yes, it is, and you'd hate to criticise it with the success that he's had. Well, you can't criticise it because he knows what it does and he trusts it, and that's the most important thing.
Gary Evans fighting hard.
Hey.
Just one of those days you're going to have to expunge from the memory.
Yeah, I'm sure he's disappointed, very disappointed having a round like this playing with Monty. But strong character, he'll put it behind him and probably have a good round tomorrow.
In fact, he's done well to hang on after that nightmare start in the first 5 holes. Since then, it's been all pars apart from the birdie he's just made on 15.
Yeah, yeah.
Must be a rugby fan, I think. Judging from the shirt. Bogey putt for Sunnison on this danger hole.
Yeah.
Up ahead of it, Dean Robertson made a double bogey 6 on here to fall back to 2 under.
First time Dean's been out in a while. 4 months, I believe, so a fantastic start for him, but I'm sure he's delighted to be back in tournament golf, and he has some sort of form, so I'm sure we'll see him get stronger over the next few weeks. It's always tough to have 4 months off and come back and compete. And although he shot the 65, I'm sure he would have liked a few more tournaments before this.
Big drive from Scott Rowe, the Puerto Rican-born American qualified, despite the fact he's also got a Canadian passport, courtesy of his Canadian parents, and a Hong Kong passport, because he spent 14 years there. In fact, he learned his golf at the Royal Hong Kong Golf Club. Went from 24 to scratch in a year.
That is something.
Marcus Bryar, 2nd into 17.
Oh, up the slope. Yeah, terrific. It's just a little plateau on 17. It's hard to see on TV, but it's a very, very small area, and I think if you get it up there, it really is a good shot. Although he has a birdie putt there, he's got to go up quite a tier to get to that level. So relaxed and so powerful, the swing. It really is fantastic to watch. He's going to have a tough time getting it up and down there. Very difficult shot.
Comes from Brisbane, but one of the many from the southern hemisphere who have a place in the south of England as well.
Is his wife caddying for him, I think, Vicky? Yeah. Not Jackie, at least, not Vicky.
One is in danger of taking one too many here.
Actually, I was just thinking now that this group, not one of them is really fired today, and it's tough to get going in a group like that.
Well, it can't have helped with the start that Gary Evans had. I mean, that must have.
No, that's right. You know, and I'm sure he started feeling embarrassed about it as well. You know, trying to stay out of their way, and they've all just sort of plodded along today.
No camera. Thanks.
Good view of that shot. Oh, lovely shot. Maybe they've played as well today.
What he was saying a little earlier this year, in fact, at Augusta, I think it was, that unlike many players who feel uncomfortable when they see their name on the leaderboard, he only feels comfortable if his name is on the leaderboard.
Yeah. It certainly is a mindset. I mean, he's done it year after year, so probably more annoyed when he's not up there than anything else, I should imagine.
Definitely, yeah. He expects to be there.
Yes.
Birdie putt on 18 for Scott Rowe. So it'll be a 70 for him, 5 under for the 3 rounds. Finished 22nd at the tour school last year, so with the first re-rank coming up, he'll be looking for a really strong finish here. The top 20 in the money list. At, what is it, the week of the Benson and Hedges, I think, just before the Benson and Hedges.
Yeah, I think it's the week before. It's after next week, after the French Open.
They will be re-ranked into their current positions. And that makes a big difference, because as you start to get into the big money tournaments now coming up, then it's only the top handful of the tour school graduates who actually get into the big tournaments.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of pressure on them in the beginning of the year, and a lot of travelling, going to different countries, so it requires a big effort to start the year for tour school graduates.
Kurils looking to try and save par here. I think that was a misread.
Yes, it was.
Unusually, there'll be no change to the #1 on the re-rank, unless something very dramatic happens, because Alistair Forsyth, who won the tour school, has already done very well this year. He's secured his card already. He'll stay in the #1 spot.
Yeah. Also, I think he finished third down Australia, if I remember correctly, at the Heineken in Perth. It's a dream start for somebody from the tour school. That really is, takes a lot of pressure off you. It's down the slope there. It's always a tough shot, that.
Forsyth was out early today, playing with Gordon Brown Jr. and Per Ulrich Johansson. Forsyth and Jr. both had 71s. They're both at 2 over. Johansson had a 72 to finish at 3 over. Mentioned right at the beginning of the programme that Anthony Wall had flown home assuming that he wouldn't be making the cut at 3 over. He finished early in the day yesterday, and he in fact then withdrew. Apparently he is suffering a bit with some recurrence of the glandular fever that he suffered through the winter. He should have been playing with John Bickerton and Elliot Bolt, both of whom played well today. Bickerton a 70, Bolt a 68.
Good putt there. It's not bogey. So the finish of this golf course, the 16, 17, 18 are strong holes. The 16th, I think, is around about 200-yard par 3, and then 17 is must be around about 470 yards, I think. 17 off the back.
463 on the card.
463, yeah. And then 18 is over must be 440 yards, somewhere around there as well. 3 very strong finishing holes. I think he's got it again now.
He has putted well.
Fantastically well with back 9.
Just one off the lead now.
Very good shot of his technique. Very solid.
It's an enormous advantage seeing him looking rather like a racing car with covered in sponsorship labels. It's a great advantage to be one of, if not the best, in your country of limited golfers, because all the sponsors are willing to throw money at you.
Yes, I've noticed that in Europe, yeah.
It was an advantage that the likes of Constantina Rocca had. Thomas Bjorn, the manufacturers all want you to use their equipment because there's an enormous market potential.
I think it's what's helped these guys at the moment as well, is that golf is exploding in Europe, isn't it? It's becoming very popular.
Particularly in places like Austria, where a lot of the winter resorts are now building golf courses as well to try and get the all year round traffic. Places like Kitzbühel have got good golf courses.
Yes.
In fact, Marcus Breyer's home course, the Fontana Club just outside Vienna, he says is a superb course, particularly the conditioning of it in wonderful condition. They're hoping to try and get a tour event there over the next few years.
Well, one of the nicest courses. There's a fantastic shot from Brian. Get up the hill. Just not enough, but he'll be happy with that coming out the rough on the right-hand side of 17. We were playing Sporting Club Berlin last year. Fantastic layout as well. Felder designed golf course, and it was beautiful.
Great shame we're not getting back there this year.
Yes, but disappointing that is.
An all-round sporting complex with great facilities for tennis and riding and sailing.
Yeah.
A couple of top-class golf courses. Marcus Bryan now just needs a good drive to finish. Will do nicely.
Oh, he's done that. Beautiful shot. Really has played solidly. He's put the ball down the fairway, put it on the green, and well, he's putted well this back 9, but he's maintained his rhythm, and he's looking very, very good.
New Zealander Stephen Scarhill.
Really hard worker. One of the range boys. Spends hours out in the range. in the same as John Sender. I think he's going to struggle to get up and down from there.
And Andrew Coulthard from good position. 192 left.
Lovely shot.
He's been using one of those clubs with a squeaky grip on it with his coach Tim Barter to try and ease the tension. In other words, it goes off when you grip it too hard.
Interesting.
He says it's jolly difficult not to get the siren blasting.
I'm surprised he grips it hard because he's got a beautiful wide swing and he always looks so relaxed, Andrew. Lovely finish.
His swing has changed quite considerably.
Yes.
Under Tim Barter, much more orthodox now. On plane.
That looked like a good swing, really fluid.
Third shot on the 18th.
Very good.
A Spaniard in sand. .454 yards. The card measurement for the 18th. And it's just a gentle curve rather than a dog leg.
Yeah. I think he's hit a big tee shot there. And although it's in the rough, John's not going to have too long a shot in. Sure, one would like to finish with 2 pars, yeah.
All right.
Really has lost his rhythm now. Getting quick, and I'm sure you'd like to be off the off the golf course at the moment.
It'd be a shame if he racks up high numbers now in the last couple of holes, because, you know, I mean, 5 under, he's still got a chance of a good result tomorrow. Carl Simonsen has bogeyed the last couple.
Yeah, that's a good par.
So he does well to get up and down at the last for a 70. He's 5 under also. So frustrating when you have a finish to the round like that, isn't it? I mean, it is a game of 18 holes, and I think sometimes you have to look at the hole, but you do tend to rest better when you've birdied the last 2 rather than double bogeyed.
Yeah, you're right, you do. Although at the beginning of the day, I'm sure if somebody had said, you know, you've got 70 at the end of the day, you would have been quite happy with that. But
there's no logic in that, but it's human nature.
Yeah.
Mr. Spock would disapprove.
Brian's left that a little short. So you're a bit disappointed with that putt. So I think he's done well today.
He's just having to work a bit hard to hang on at the end here.
Yes. I'm sure mentally he's put a lot of effort into today to maintain his composure and keep everything going. So I'm sure it's, from that point of view, he's a little tired now, and we'd like to, again, just to have a couple of pars, and he'd be well satisfied with the day's play.
One more good shot from Marcus Breyer.
Looking really composed out there. That's another one that's found the back bunker.
Well, he may be one of only a few from his country, but he's been playing golf a long time. 31-year-old who started at the age of 8. So not as if he's a newcomer.
Good performance of John's, man. Yeah, I think he's had 6 weeks off. Jackie was saying they were out on the family farm, and it sounded like they were rounding up cows and doing all sorts of things. So he's really got off the golf course and relaxed. And it's a good start for him for the European campaign.
Is he still? I think he used to share with Nick O'Hearn, didn't he, share a house in the south of England?
Yes, I think they did. Yeah.
In the Surrey stockbroker belt. Badly needed birdie for Coulthard. Likes the look of it. No. A bit of a scrappy card, double bogey at 9. 3 bogeys on the back 9, as well as a birdie and an eagle. His wee ban, the new baby, is teething at the moment. He's quite glad not to be there.
Yeah, and it's the baby in the house. Everything's a new experience.
No such worries for Bachelor Davis.
That was solidly done. Really good. Looking comfortable over the short putts.
I think he's really quite a prospect because he has very high expectations of himself.
Yeah.
I think anyone who sets high goals, you know, has got a chance of making it. Well, I suppose anyone can set their sights high, but you've got to put in the work as well to get there. But he does that.
Yeah. Certainly believes in himself, which is, you know, half the battle won as well.
But not in an unpleasant way. I mean, he's a typical sort of, when he's a young boy, and I suppose he's a typical sort of what you might call a cocky Londoner.
Yeah, but I think, I wouldn't say nowadays, but, you know, I think in professional sport, you just have to believe in yourself. If you want to do something, no one else is going to help you along the way. You know, you've got to do it yourself, and
particularly in golf, such an individual game.
Yes, and you know, I think some people might find it offensive, but but you need it in large doses. The self-confidence and the you know, the ability to believe in yourself, and a bit of arrogance.
Funnily enough, I think Gary Evans had that when he first came out, and he's really gone through the school of hard knocks. Unusual, Monty missing the green with a 4-iron.
I don't think I've ever come across anybody in the professional golf anyway that hasn't had a few hard knocks. It's part and parcel of the game, and the guys that come out the other end of it are better for it and better competitors. Oops. Looked like he really wanted to give that one. A good smack at the last.
Yeah, he's having to work rather hard to hang on to this very good score.
Be interesting to see how they handle it tomorrow, because the two guys will play together that haven't won before on the tour. It's a big opportunity for the two of them, and it'll be interesting to see how they go about it.
Perez playing his third shot. He managed to find his ball all right, but he could only just knock it out forwards a little bit and sideways. Got 115 yards left.
Yeah, I think that's better. Actually, around here, it's lucky to find your ball in the deep rough of here, and that's very, very thick, and most of the time it's unplayable. Or go back to the tee and hit another one. A bit fortunate there.
Lucky to have a big gallery watching. Somebody would have seen that.
Mark's done well there. Opportunity for par.
John Senden for his 4.
Won't be happy with that finish. Again, it's the same thing, isn't it? We were talking about early on, where 71 at the beginning of the day, you'd been fairly happy with that, I suppose. To finish with 2 bogeys is doesn't quite give you the confidence for the following day.
Marcus Bryer has been rescued on more than one occasion today by his excellent putting. Let's hope it keeps working. This is for a 67.
That's very good. That's one of the best putting rounds I've seen in a long time. Very well played.
So he will certainly be in the final group tomorrow. Superb 67, just the one drop shot at 10th. Austria can be proud of him. Monty normally puts these pretty close.
Got a bit of work to do there.
He has this extraordinary swing whereby he seems to be able to leave it for months at a time, as he did through the winter, and come back and nothing's changed. It's still all there. But the short game for anybody is the area that suffers most if you don't pick up a club. And it must be true for him as well, surely.
I would think by this stage of the year that his short game should be in pretty good shape, because he's been playing in America, and the facilities over there are very, very good. But it does affect you if you do take time off. It is the first thing that goes, especially the pitching. If you're a confident putter, it's not that bad. But but just to get the feel of the pace of the swing and the way the ball runs out again and that kind of thing, it takes a bit of work. But also, I think that with Monty and with a lot of the great players, I think they are good, and their careers are longer because they have the self-belief and they are able to take off time like that. You know, to give themselves 2 months of relaxation, get away from the game, and come back fresh. Because they have the talent, the enormous self-belief, and a lot of other pros play year-round and tire themselves out.
Well, of course. I mean, you talk about great players as Cross tries to save par. Sadly, he's going to finish with another bogey. The great players of the previous generation, player Nicholas Palmer, etc. They had a much shorter season.
Yes, they did.
You're talking about almost a 12-month season now for lots of players, if they wanted.
If they wanted, yes, certainly. That's where the tour's been pretty good over here. I think it's been, they've given the guys the opportunity to be able to play from January now through to November.
Well, especially for guys like yourself, people who play in South Africa during our winter, and the Australians all playing down in Australia right through the November, December, January, February, and then they come up here and keep playing throughout the European season.
Yes. No, you don't really have much time off anymore. That's how I always think. It'd be great to be a superstar. I think where you can pick and choose your tournaments, and invariably they always perform well. I marvel at them, really. I do. When you get guys like Woods and Monty and Ernie and Couples, guys like that, where they get asked to play around the world, and they invariably perform, finish in the top 10. I think that's it's absolutely fantastic. I don't know how they, well, it's talent, and obviously, but it always amazed me that they're able to do that. They hardly ever miss the cut and have a good finish.
Now, Brian Davis, I think, is just churning a little bit here. He's irritated with himself. He needed a 4 for a 66. I'm not sure that he might be laying up here.
Difficult this year. He's got to protect it from going way left. Yeah.
He's gone for it.
Certainly being aggressive, isn't he? Yeah, that's a great shot. It really is. Difficulty there was to try and keep it straight off that lie. He's done really well. Left himself a long putt, but he's on the dance floor, and
good recovery, really.
Yes.
Probably in a better spot than Stephen Scarhill.
Yeah, Stephen's got to go over this tree now again and having a look at the lip of the bunker to get up quickly.
I think he made good contact.
It's a great strike. Really a superb shot. Monty for his par. Yeah, he's looked good over those putts again. Really, I always think good putters, you know, complain about their putting more than they should do, really. But he really has looked sound over the last few holes.
But he's really been talking himself into a bit of a corner in the last few weeks about his putting. I'm sure there has to be a danger in that.
I've always... Oh, it's really tentative, that. I've noticed over the years that I've been here that Monty always tends to do that. You know, he'll walk off and say, well, you can't make a score if you putt like that, you know, like I've putted. And, you know, all the sports psychologists say that the last thing you should do, you try and put it out your mind and you focus on you know, putting a good stroke on the next one, and you know, and just ignore the bad ones. But he tends to talk about it, which has always amazed me, and he'll come out the next day and putt beautifully. I don't know if he... well, he just looks at it just as the way it is, and he comments on it, and it's never really affected him.
£99,000, very nearly, awaits the winner tomorrow afternoon.
No cameras, please.
Which I'm sure is of very little interest to Monty. All he wants is to win a tournament, get back into winning ways. Mrs. Monty would probably be quite chuffed. Put another diamond necklace in the drawer. Yep, that's all right.
Really one of the world's great drivers. Oh, that one's scooted on. That is long.
We'll find out how long it is, because they'll measure that one exactly. Looks as though the course has dried out considerably after the rain a couple of days ago, which really did make it play a lot longer.
And certainly cooler the first day, and which also made it longer. But I'd say it's probably playing 20 to 30 yards shorter now.
Just these last two groups then left out.
And Brian would be very happy to two-putt from here, and be well satisfied with a great day's play.
Base over in Florida, stays with his coach over there, and is seriously thinking about buying a place over there. Ultimately would love to play full-time in America. I'm sure he'll probably have another crack at the tour school this year. Oh, he's got the line right.
Oh, has he done it? Oh, fantastic. Tremendous. Maybe win some finish. Never can tell in this game, can you? Clear tee shot, great recovery.
The only thing that might stop him possibly going to America this year is that he now is starting to have serious Ryder Cup thoughts, and he might well want to play a full season in Europe next year with a view to qualifying for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I think of the, you know, for a guy with his talent, to make a Ryder Cup side would just be fantastic. I'm sorry we don't have anything like that in South Africa. You know, it's always it's good to be part of a team event every now and again, and certainly something that has the tradition of the Ryder Cup. I think for all of these young players, it's something to aim for. It's a great goal.
Badly needed birdie putt for Andrew Coulthard. Never had the powder. 73 for him.
So birdie after a great recovery shot at the bunker. Oh, Spike might almost help in there. So a good ball.
One or two spike marks, but generally the greens are played beautifully. And
Yes, they are. Some of the best I've played in Europe, actually. They really are good.
Which is all going to change next week, sadly, for the French Open. The players have already been told that the Paris National has suffered a bit with fusarium.
I believe so. I believe so, which is a pity, but occasionally you just can't do anything about that.
So now, finish it off well, Brian. That's for a 66. And the overnight lead.
Yeah, he's been positive on those putts all day. Really good score.
Well, he hasn't run away with it. It's certainly going to be a very tight and exciting day tomorrow. He's the leader by 1 from Marcus Breyer. Romero 2 behind at 9 under. Then, amazingly, Carlos Rodriguez, and not so amazingly, Colin Montgomery. And lurking just 5 behind, Sergio Garcia. Coulthard finishes off. Disappointing day for him. 73, 4 under par. Share of 15th place going into the final round. The regular cries now all the players have to put up with from all the kids around the finishing hole. Bag, glove, hat, ball, anything else you can spare?
It'd be great if they all played eventually.
That's a popular bunker. To go home and have a hot bath and a gin and tonic and partly forget about Sunday in Spain.
Yeah. No round that you'd like to remember.
Now this really is a huge drive with that kick forward that Monty got. 329 yards. Just 120 left to the pin. solid wedge, as Peter Coleman says. Could easily knock this very close. He's starting on line.
Certainly eyeing it. Yeah, great shot. Yeah, the amazing thing about Monty when you have a look at him, when he knocks that in, I think he shot, you know, he would have shot 69 today, and it really looked like he struggled. You know, he really makes the game look so easy.
Oh, well, I mean, it was exactly the same in round one. When he went out in 33, he was playing pretty well, and then got into difficulty on the 2 par 5s, but walked off with 5s. And finishes birdie, and he shot 67.
Amazing, he really is.
But he was cross yesterday because he shot 71 yesterday, and he came off and said that, you know, that should have been 66 or 67.
Again, you know, it's the same thing that you're saying early on about Brian Davis setting high standards, which Monty certainly does for himself. And you know, you can get down on yourself when you set these standards, and very hard on yourself too.
Not been an easy day. You can see how strong the wind is there with the flags blowing. Europe's #1 for the last 7 years has performed pretty well. And certainly any of the other young lads up at the top of the leaderboard will be keeping an eye on what he's doing tomorrow, that's for sure.
Definitely. He really has been one of the great golfers in the world for the last few years, and I think it's been fantastic that he stayed here in Europe and won all these auto merits. Oh, one. I'd like to see him get this up and down and finish with a par. A tough day for him today.
He's staring at a bogey, double bogey finish if he doesn't make that putt. For a round of 78. Beautiful course designed by Neil Coles and Angel Gallardo, who has been working feverishly all week to make sure that everything works according to plan.
Well, he's done a great job. It certainly has been that way.
Gary Evans putting for only his second birdie of the day. Birdied the 15th, the easiest hole on the course.
Got it on line. Well, yeah, well done. That's tremendous. At least they'll bring a smile to his face anyway. Really.
Well, there was a similar smile on his face when he shot 67 yesterday, and it was a slightly wry smile, saying, well, perhaps I was a little bit lucky there. And it all came out to get him today.
Yeah. So a good way to finish. Good round tomorrow, and he could finish top 10.
Man from Sotogrande who started out as a caddy. Wants this one for 77 also.
He changed his
Oh,
putting grip there. I think he has.
that's extraordinary.
Obviously lost a bit of confidence in his big 10. Oh, it got there. Well, you're probably using that grip tomorrow.
With its dying breath. So what a very strange final grouping. Gary Evans 77, Juan Curos 77. Monty now with a very makeable birdie putt for a 69. I doubt if Monty's ever been involved in a match quite like this one. This will make a great difference to his demeanour if he can make this.
Yeah, I think he'd feel like he's in the hunt for tomorrow. Knock this one in. Does this put him into the last group tomorrow? If he knocks this in.
Should do. Actually, it wouldn't have done anyway because Romero has already posted a 9 under. First in, last out.
Right, correct.
So once again, he'll feel that there's a few got away there. I'm sure. Lovely shot into the last, and it's only a 70, but he's only 3 behind, and he wouldn't bet anything against it. But I just get a sneaky feeling that Garcia might have an exciting round tomorrow.
Yes, good round for him today. Really put him in with a chance.
Have a look at some of the highlights of the day. Colin Montgomery hit a great second shot, having got into uncharacteristic trouble with his drive on the 9th. Wasn't able to capitalise on it there, missed the birdie putt. A double bogey at the 10th, but recovered. As we've seen, 70 for him to finish at 8 under. Sergio Garcia, great improvement on yesterday. Superb. Second shot into the 18th. He too missed the birdie putt. It was a 66 for him. Romero came charging through the field. This was an eagle putt on the par 5 12th. 2 more birdies to come back in 32 for a 65 to finish at 9 under. Very impressive day from 31-year-old Austrian Marcus Breyer. Birdies at the 2nd and 7th. Onto the par 3 8th. Another birdie. Out in 33. Dropped his only shot at the 10th, but had 3 more birdies coming back in 34 for a 67. He's at 10 under. Brian Davis going out in 33 with further birdies at the 10th and 12th. 13th as well. Then he dropped a shot on the 14th. Looked as though he was going to really shoot a good score, but it was a 66 in the end. So on 8 under, in joint 4th, we've got Colin Montgomery and Carlos Rodriguez. 3rd place on his own at 9 under. El Gato. Second place on his own at 10 under. Marcus Breyer. Be interesting to see how the 2 novices in terms of winning, Marcus Breyer and Brian Davis, can handle the pressure tomorrow. Roger, thank you very much indeed for coming in. Great to have your comments.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. It's good to watch some fantastic golf this afternoon.
And I think we'll see a lot more of that tomorrow. Fingers crossed that we have another good day. It'd just be ideal, I think, certainly from Garcia's point of view. He'd like to see a bit of wind. It'll give him a better chance of making a charge through the field. There'll be big Spanish crowds out to see how their men get on. Carlos Rodriguez and particularly, I think, Sergio Garcia. Wonderful setting here, great golf course. The Pyrenees Mountains in the far distance looking down. Make sure you're with us for the denouement tomorrow. From me, Julian Tutt. Bye-bye. Thank you.